Huo Jun was a great warrior and military leader who led his followers to join Liu Bei during his stay at Jing province. His son, Huo Yi, would go on to suppress tribal rebellions in Nanzhong under Liu Shan, establishing peace with the leading clans to such an extent that his bloodline remained in charge of keeping the peace there after Wei conquered Shou. Huo Jun was born in 178 in Zhejiang County, Nan Commandery. He joined in with his brother Huo Du's militia when he rallied a few hundred men from their hometown. They made their way to serve Liu Biao, who put Huo Jun in charge of the unit after his brother's death. After Liu Biao died in late 208, Huo Jun led the squad to join Liu Bei, who appointed him as a general of the household. In 211, Liu Bei led an expedition force of tens of thousands into Yi province, including Huo Jun. When they entered, it was as if Liu Bei was returning home. Liu Zhang led 30,000 soldiers in a flamboyant display to welcome them warmly, and then they feasted for more than 100 days. Yan Yan famously remarked that Liu Zhang's decision was like setting a tiger free to defend himself. They headed to Xiameng Pass, but instead of Liu Bei engaging Zhang Liu as agreed, he led his army deeper into Yi province, then began his takeover. Huo Jun was left behind with only a few hundred men to defend the strategic location at Xiameng, and it wasn't long until Zhang Liu sought to conquer it in Liu Bei's absence. Yang Bu showed up with his troops, then tried to trick Huo Jun into opening the gate by offering to help them defend the pass together. Huo saw straight through this and told him that they could take his head, but they could never have the fortress, forcing Yang Bu to withdraw. Fu Jun, Xiang Tsun and some others were sent by Liu Zhang to lead 10,000 soldiers to also try and capture Xiameng Pass. Still with only a few hundred troops, Huo Jun managed to hold his position for over a year. He waited until his enemy was weak and negligent, then he handpicked his elite soldiers from among his men to plan a counterattack. They scored a major victory against a larger army, and Huo Jun even beheaded Xiang Tsun in battle. After Liu Bei had conquered Yi, he carved out Zitong Commandery from the original Guanghan Commandery and appointed Huo Jun as its administrator. He was also promoted to a major general for his contributions in the takeover, but he only held office for 3 years as he died at around the age of 40. His body was taken to Chengdu for the burial, where Liu Bei deeply lamented his death. He personally led many subjects and officials to the burial and stayed overnight at Huo Jun's tomb. This was a great honour indeed. His son Huo Yi continued to serve Liu Bei as a general, but he was also born back in Zhejiang County. It's not written but likely that he followed his father in his exploits, and he was appointed as an attendant to the Crown Prince Liu Bei after he declared himself emperor. When Liu Shan succeeded the throne, he made Huo Yi an internuncio, which is a fancy name for a receptionist or an imperial messenger. Zhuge Liang launched his series of campaigns against Wei, and he asked for Huo Yi to be transferred to his office at Hanzhong. He worked well with the adoptive son Zhuge Xiao during this period of time, as they travelled in the same chariot and slept in the same house. Zhuge Liang once wrote, "Xiao should have returned to Chengdu, but I see that the sons of the other Shu generals have inherited their father's legacies, so we should share honour and shame together. I have put Xiao in command of 600 men, and deployed him to the valley with the sons of the other generals." After Zhuge Liang died, Huo Yi was appointed as a gentleman of the Yellow Gates, until Liu Shan appointed his eldest son Liu Xuan to be his heir apparent in 238. Huo Yi was sent to be an aide to the troubled lord, who loved horse riding and archery, but acted without thinking. Huo Yi taught him the ancient classics to improve his behaviour, and was successful in providing him proper guidance. Extensive writings about the generations of history in the Nanzhong region mention the local officials' respectful interactions with the foreign tribes, how they were merciful and respectful of their traditions, and how all of this followed Huo Yi's example. He established his family's legacy in the south after he was transferred to assist the military affairs in Nanzhong. Liu Shan appointed him as the chief controller and protector of the army, then made him the administrator of Yongchang Commandery to deal with the growing tribal unrest. They were using steep terrain for protection as they pillaged and burnt nearby settlements to the ground. After Huo Yi killed the chiefs, destroyed their bases, and restored peace to the borders, he was further promoted to the army inspector, and made the administrator over Xianling Commandery as well. This effectively gave him complete control over all affairs in Nanzhong. The area commander of Lai Xiang refers to the appointment created by the Shu government to oversee affairs throughout the Nanzhong region. The title was currently held by Yan Yu, who Huo Yi had served under as a subordinate in the past. He came to join him as his deputy once more to assist him in the mission, but Huo Yi demonstrated such an exceptional aptitude that he would go on to succeed Yang Yu as the general who stabilizes the south. Although it's not recorded that Huo Yi was appointed as the area commander of Xiang, he became the highest authority in the region after Yang Yu was reassigned to the Shu-Wu border. During this time, he pacified foreign customs, promoted fair legislation, and educated the common people. Under his governing, many minor and severe offences were resolved by introducing various laws. The end result kept the foreigners and Han citizens safe from danger. Throughout the turbulent times as Wei conquered Shu, Huo Yi wanted to lead his troops to defend Chengdu, but Liu Shan had already decided on its formation, so the offer was rejected. When he learned of the fall of Shu, he grieved and protested for 3 days. Refusing to surrender, he stated he would fight to the death, but his men urged him to follow in Liu Shan's footsteps by surrendering as well. Now that we don't even know if our lord is safe or in danger, the situation has reached a critical point. We cannot be nonchalant in our actions, so if Liu Shan finds agreement to reach peace and is treated with respect, we can keep our territory safe and surrender at the right time. If, however, he is at risk or treated with contempt, then to the death I would resist the invaders. In that case, the only thing to discuss would be on what weapons do we want to use. When he found out that Liu Shan hadn't been harmed and had gone to Luoyang, he stayed secure in the southern regions, then led all the defenders of the 6 commanderies to Chengdu to submit. Their written memorial made its way to Sima Zhao, who was very pleased. As a servant, I have long known that the state takes priority over a man's life, that when difficulties arise, a loyal man should offer up his life. The state of your servant has been overwhelmed, and his lord submitted. I believe that a defence to the death would be pointless, so we entrust and pledge to the new state, and commit to your service with full resolution. Thanks to his reasonable conduct, he was able to retain his titles, then return south with gifts and high praises from the capital. Sima Zhao officially appointed Huo Yi as the area commander of Nanzhong, and further made him the inspector of the Zhaoji province, which was yet to be conquered by Wei. This granted him the ability to administrate it from afar by appointing his own chiefs or officials into positions. Sun Xiu was a corrupt and cruel administrator who was deeply unpopular in Zhaoji, which incited Lu Xing's rebellion. He sent his chief controller to contact Huo Yi for help, who discreetly administrated the province remotely from Nanzhong. During the Zhao province campaign between Wei and Wu, Huo Yi sent his former Shu troops to assist Lu Xing as he launched his revolt. With this, the commanderies of Zhaoji, Rinan and Zhuizhen all joined in and surrendered to Wei. Then Huo Yi requested to the capital that a native of Zhaoji be made the new prefect. This was granted, but Lu Xing was ultimately assassinated by Li Tong. Earlier on, Huo Yi made a pact with his subordinates. Yang Ji, Mao Jian, and many more of his commanders swore an oath that if they came under siege and could not resist for 100 days, then they would execute their families. If they could resist for 100 days, but no reinforcements arrived, then Huo Yi would take full responsibility for not sending any. In 271, Dao Huang besieged Yang Ji and Mao Jiang's strongholds, where their now Jin armies ran out of provisions before 100 days. They came to surrender, but Dao Huang refused, then provided them with some of his food, much to the protest of his subordinates. He reassured them that as Huo Yi had recently died, no reinforcements would be showing up, plus his virtues would promote Wu's will both home and abroad. After Huo Yi's death, his son inherited command of his soldiers and led them to establish peace with even more leading clans from the south. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.